Good afternoon, everyone. Today I'm going to do a update video on the semiconductor sector. So I'm going to be breaking down NVIDIA, AMD, and also SMH and XOXX, which is the semiconductor sector. And let's get into it. And the reason we want to look into the semiconductor sector is because NVIDIA is a large holdings in QQQ as well. So if NVIDIA decides to roll over or pops new highs, then it's also going to affect QQ. And if the leader of the semiconductor sector decides to go either way, it's going to lead other semi stocks the same direction as well. If the whole sector of semiconductor goes up, it's going to be a fire field for QQQ and vice versa. So, all right, let's get into it. So this is the daily time frame, and Nvidia has been rejecting from, you can see right here, this 280 level 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times. So that's a clear level of resistance for Nvidia. You can see there's not that many times where Nvidia rejects from somewhere that maybe down here a little bit, but that's only within 4 days. This is more like spread out, and also Nvidia has been holding quite well at this level around roughly 264, 265. You see all the balances we have been coming off of it, and so yeah, that's going to be my guide for support resistance. QQQ looks pretty much the same. You can go to my YouTube long form where I did a market breakdown of 17 minutes video on QQQ and all the big tech stocks together and my earnings prediction for next week. You can see that I broke down the QQQ's range is also going completely sideways, just like this one. So if NVIDIA decides to stay under EMA 12, which is a tail looking line, and rejects from there, we're going to likely test this level again. And if so, that's going to probably come in, let's say tomorrow, right? We get a red candle and we will probably stay above here, very likely, is my guess. And on Tuesday, Alphabet and Microsoft's going to report earnings. So that's going to be the key factor on Tuesday. So tomorrow, red candle drop to here, or it doesn't matter, green candle, or sideways. Tuesday comes along, Microsoft and Apple reports bad earnings. This will definitely break to the downside if Microsoft and Google rolls over, and after hours if they have really bad earnings. Sometimes, if you have bad, like let's say he has slightly bad earnings, it could still go green. Like I've seen it before, but it just depends on the sentiment of the market. So playing earnings is a coin flip, just say, because I've seen good earnings where it just tanks as well, vice versa, and so we'll see how Tuesday works. Tuesdays is going to determine if we break it out this range or not. All right, let's go to AMD. All right, let's see. Okay, so I drew this a long time ago, maybe like 2 weeks ago. So this is our resistance guide. This is our support guide, and it looks like we have broken out of that wedge on Wednesday, and we bounced into it, retested it, and reject from it. So that's a good sign for the bears because we've broken out of the pattern and then retest the pattern and then reject from it. That's going to be, let's see if you see anything. Okay, I do see a falling wedge as well, roughly like over here. You can see we have a falling wedge that is potentially still in it. I mean, it could go on forever if it just stays in it. But it's already broken bears out of this rising wedge. And the next level of support I would be looking at would be, we're pretty much right at it. You can see all this places where we topped out earlier. So it used to act as resistance. Now it's acting as support because we are above it on the price level. We can bounce off of it 4 times there. And again, it would dictate the Tuesday's earnings. It would dictate if we do get back above here or you're going to break this level of support where, and if it does break, the next level I'm looking at is usually roughly around this level. You can see this top as well. It's topped out here. It used to act as support. So that's going to be a clear level for me to look into. It's quite a ways actually. Let's see how long, 8%. It's 10% drop. So it's not going to go straight down to it. It'll likely chop around. It may want to bounce again and retest this level. And if it does reject from it, then we will likely test this level. And let's go to the actual semi sector. So semiconductor sector as well, it has a falling wedge. You can see roughly like that as well. And we have, there's a weekly support. Actually, that's a lot more important than the falling wedge. Falling wedge, those things are usually just a visual guide for me, and it's not a definite number or anything. But the weekly support, which is this one right here, is 246.4. So you can see on Friday, we actually was like 14 cents away from it to 46.57, and we bounced off of it. The reason it's a weekly support is because the weekly chart, it was the last higher low from the previous low. So it's continuing its weekly uptrend for this level, meaning if we do break below that level, the weekly uptrend is gone and it becomes a weekly neutral trend. And if the bears want to form a weekly downtrend, then they have to bounce above the previous high and then go form a previous break above the previous high and then go lower, breaking the previous low for it to come from a weekly downtrend. But before that, we still have to break this prior low right here, pivot, so to confirm into a neutral trend. So that's the weekly support for SMH, semiconductor sector, and that's going to be key this week for sure. We're going to either bounce off of it, continuing off this bounce, which we did. We bounced off of it on Friday, but wasn't enough time and price action to determine if that was a clear bounce or not yet. So this coming week, next couple of days, is going to determine that. If we do break that weekly support, it's going to drag down all the other semi stocks as well. AMD, TSM, Nvidia, Texas Instrument is actually reporting on Tuesday as well. TXN, which is also a semi stock. So it's going to keep key watch for me. I am still shorting the other semiconductor sector. It's pretty much the same, but just the holding of the weighting is a little bit different on SMH and XOSX. So it just looks a little bit, tiny bit different. This one broke the weekly support. You can see broke below this one. But SMH is what usually people look at more. But only this one has the leverage ETF. So I'm in the XOXS. So that's the 3x leverage ETF of this guy. So that means when it drops 1%, I'm up 3%. So yeah, that's all I got you guys for the semiconductor sector. So if you guys want the actual QQQ breakdown in the SPY and all the big tech stocks, and go to my previous video, just one video I had from yesterday. That's a 17-minute detailed analysis of all what I'm looking for into this week, as well as the earnings prediction that I'm thinking that we will get. And let me know if you guys got any questions. And if you made it this far, feel free to subscribe. I update markets daily. And I'll see you guys around tomorrow.